Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as assistant professor in Chevron Engineering College. I am dealing the subject electrical machines too, and in this electrical machines too, now we are dealing about the alternators or synchronous generators. In that we are dealing with the topic voltage regulation finding. So we are having different types of voltage regulation finding methods. In now we have already discussed the synchronous impedance method. Now we are discussing about the remaining two methods. So this is the second method. This is called as Rother's MMF or ampere turn method. It is invented by Rother. So the name exists, Rother MMF method. So this method, it also utilizes OC and SC test data. So this also requires open circuit test and short circuit test data. Actually, in before method, what we have seen, the synchronous impedance method, we are dealing with three types of parameters. Armature resistance we have to need, and OC test data and SC test data also we have to need. But here in Rother's MMF or ampere turns method, here we are omitting the armature resistance value, so we are dealing about only OC test and SC test data. Okay, so but it is converse of EMF method in the sense that armature leakage reactance, it is treated as a additional armature reaction. Okay, so in other words, I can say that the change in the terminal voltage on the load is due to entirely armature reaction. For the armature reaction, the change in the terminal voltage is entirely due to the armature reaction and due to the ohmic resistance drop. So in most cases we have to take this ohmic resistance drop, but it is negligible here. So if you see the fact, this in figure 37.43, what I have explained up to now, we are omitting the armature excess drop, armature synchronous reactance drop, but we are adding the armature reaction drop IXA. So here V plus E naught is equal to V plus IARA plus IXA drop. Right, so it gives total no load voltage, no load induced EMF drop E naught. Now field ampere turns, these are required to produce a voltage of V on full load, and it is a vector sum of two voltages. First one is field ampere turns required to produce the voltage. So here we are taking V and we are taking the RA into the account also. Okay, RA into the account also. So here RA can be taken into account, then it becomes, the voltage becomes V plus IRA cos phi naught, cos phi. And this is produced on no load. And this can be found from OCC test, open circuit characteristics test. And second one, the field ampere turns which are required to overcome the demagnetization effect of armature reaction on the full load we have to take into account. So this value is found from short circuit test, and the field ampere turns required to produce the full load current on the short circuit will be balancing the armature reaction and the impedance drops. So this impedance drop can be neglected here because RA is usually very small and XS is also small under short circuit conditions. Both can be neglected. So PF on the short circuit, it is almost zero lagging, and the field ampere turns here used are entirely in order to overcome the armature reaction, which are used for the wholly demagnetization effect. So demagnetization armature 8 ampere turns on the full load, these are equal and opposite to the field ampere turns which are required to produce full load current on the short circuit. So these number of ampere turns are required to produce the full load current on the short circuit test. So if the alternator is on short circuit test, it is supplying full load current at its normal voltage and 0 PF lagging, then total armature turns which are required, it is a vector sum of first one OA, and these are necessary to produce normal voltage. These are produced from the OCC test. And second one, which neutralizes the armature reaction, that is AB1, which neutralizes the armature reaction AB1. So these total ampere turns should be added. And the total field ampere turns, these are represented by OB1. The total field ampere turns which we are adding extra are represented by OB1. So this is a vector sum of OA and AB1 gives OB1. Okay, so in this the power factor is zero leading. If the power factor is zero leading, then what is the armature reaction type? It is wholly magnetizing. For leading it is magnetizing, for lagging it is demagnetizing, and for unitary power factor it is distortion. So the field ampere turns are required are here OB2. This OB2 is always less than OA. If you see the line here, the magnitude of OB2 will always be less than OA. Okay, so here AB2 is required to produce full load current on the short circuit. So if power factor is unity, the armature reaction is cross magnetization. That is, the effect is what I have said, it is only distortion only. So field ampere turns required is OB3. OB3. This is for lagging, this is for leading, and this is for unity power factor, OB3. And the vector sum of OA and OB3, these are drawn at right angles, OA. Right angles to OA, that becomes AB3. Okay, so if you consider in general case, this is before what I have discussed. This is based upon the discussions before what I have done. This is on unity, lagging, and leading. Suppose if you take a general case, this is the general case. So PF has a value between 0 and unity, that is leading and lagging also is considered. So here field ampere turns OA. In the figure A, OA field ampere turns, these are corresponding to V here. Okay, these are corresponding to V. So it can be referred as V plus IRA cos phi. And these are horizontal. See, if you observe, OA is horizontal. Then AB1, these representing full load short circuit field ampere turns. These are drawn at 90 degrees and extra 90 degrees pi angle. So 90 plus pi, lagging PF. This is lagging PF. Totally, the ampere turns are given by OB1. OB1. And this is the leading power factor. The ampere turns are AB2. Extra ampere turns are AB2. These are drawn minus 90 minus 5. So this is for lagging 90 plus 5 angle. This is 90. This is 90 minus 5 angle. You have to write AB2. Okay. And third diagram is for unity one. AB3 is drawn right angles to the OA. Okay, so if you don't know about the field ampere turns, exact ampere turns, we can draw during using currents. Okay, so if you see in figure, next figures, this is the general case. If you see in the figure 37.47, this is the general case with 90 plus 5 with currents. And if you see the figure in 37.47, it is the complete circle diagram. It is complete diagram with OC and SC. Not a circle diagram, it is complete diagram with OC and SC characteristics. Here OA will be representing the field current for normal voltage V. So for normal voltage, how much current we have at the fields, it will be represented by OA. And OC will be representing the field current required for producing full load current on the short circuit. That is OC ampere turns we have to increase further for getting the full load current. That is extra ampere turns added are OC. Okay, so here the vector actually AB is equal to OC. Nothing but this AB is the extra ampere turns I have added, that is equal to the OC. So it is drawn 90 plus 5, that is for lagging. 90 minus 5 if you take, that is for leading. And the total field current is OB. The total field current after adding extra ampere turns is OB. Okay, so this OB is the corresponding open circuit voltage at E0. For corresponding E0, the current is OB. So from this, I can write the percentage regulation formula E0 minus V by V into 100. Okay, so for this, we are getting actually the values which are less than the actual values. So we cannot use it for appropriate values. For perfectness, this is not preferred. And next one, zero power factor method or Pottier method. Next method, zero power factor method or Pottier method. So this is also based upon separation of armature leakage reactance drop and armature reaction effects. So this will be giving more accurate results than the before Rother's method. It will be using first two methods, and we will find the voltage regulation. So actually, if you do the experiment, we have to we have to get the required data for the experiment. First one, no load curve, as usual OCC, and full load zero power factor curve. Okay, so this is not the short circuit characteristics, but it is full load zero power factor curve. Okay, and this is also called wattless load characteristics curve. It is the curve of terminal poles against excitation, and at this the armature will be at full load current at zero power factor. The armature will be there, and if you reduce the voltage, that means due to the armature reaction, if the voltage get reduced, it can be what amount of voltage is reduced can be found from the above. So what is that means? The voltage drop due to armature leakage reactance XL. It can be found from, it is also called as Pottier reactance. So it is also found from OCC and full load zero power factor curve. So by combining these two, and E0 can be calculated here. Okay, so now if you see the figure, we are obtaining zero power factor lagging curve. So for, if you consider the zero power factor lagging curve, this is applied for a similar machine which is available and which is driven at no load. Okay, and second one, by loading the alternator with pure reactors, and third one, by connecting the alternator to three-phase line with ammeters and wattmeters inserted for measuring the current and power. So here we have to adjust the field current, and we get full load armature current with 0 wattmeter reading only. If you see the figure 37.56 here, point B here, it is obtained when the wattmeter reading is 0 only. And point A is obtained here. Point A is obtained from the short circuit test with full load armature current. We have to put the full load armature current and we have to perform the short circuit test. At that time we will get the full load current and we will mark that on the current line, field current line. So OA will be corresponding to OA representing corresponding the field current, which is equal and opposite to the demagnetization armature reaction. Okay, so for demagnetizing the armature reaction, this OA turns will be required. Okay, and if you know the A and B points here, full load zero power factor curve AB can be drawn under. So like this, we have to draw the AB curve, and parallel to this AB curve, I will show you. So from B, draw BH like this horizontal one. Draw BH. This BH is parallel to OA. This BH should be parallel to OJ line or B or OA line. Okay, so this BH will be drawn parallel, and from H you have to point out D. HD is drawn parallel to initial straight part of NL curve. Okay, so opposite this line, this distance, this is OCC, right? This is OCC, and we are getting B and A points after that. So join B and A points. So you are getting 2, and this is the critical resistance line OC, beyond which the machine fails to excite. So extend the B line horizontally, which is parallel to OA, to up to H. Okay, so OA is equal to BH. After that, we have to connect this line to D, such that this triangle is equal to this triangle. Okay, so which is tangential to NL curve. This is NL curve, and which is tangential to NL curve, we have to write H up to D. Hence we get the point on no load curve. We are getting a point D on no load curve. So triangle DHB, it is called as Portier triangle. Okay, so for a given armature current, this triangle will be constant always. So it can be transferred to as other points such as M, L, like that. So this triangle can be, it is constant all over through this 2 curves. It can be passed through this 2 curves. It is a constant value. Okay, so now draw DE. Extend the D point onto the BH line. You will get E point. Okay, so the length DE will be representing IXL. This is representing the voltage due to armature leakage reactance. Voltage drop. This is the voltage drop due to armature leakage reactance. So this BE will be giving the field current which is necessary to overcome the demagnetizing effect of armature reaction at full load. Okay, so this BE amount of demagnetization, this BE amount of ampere turns should be added in order to demagnetize the armature reaction effect. Okay, now let V be the voltage here. See here, other phasor diagram 37.57. Or take here in 37.56 only. So here, if you extend the BH line, you will get V here. This is the terminal voltage on full load. And if you add it vertically, the voltage drop due to armature leakage reactance, we will get E is equal to nothing but DF. Okay, So here I can say that the field excitation corresponding to E is given by OF. Corresponding to excitation, how many field current, how much field current or how many ampere turns we are giving is OF. And Na, nothing but Na, this represents the field current need to overcome the armature reaction, right? So Na is equal to Eb. And if you add Na vectorically to OF, if you add Na vectorically to OF, you will get excitation for no load induced EMF whose value will be NL, whose value will be NL. Okay, so Fg is equal to nothing but Fg is equal to Na. It is drawn at 90 plus 5, that is for lagging power factor, or it can be drawn for 90 minus 5 like this. 90 minus 5 like this, it is for leading power factor. So the voltage corresponding to this excitation OF, it is given by Jk. The voltage corresponding to this excitation is Jk, E naught. And OF E naught, E, OJ E naught. Okay, so this is the vector diagram that I have shown you for this diagram, for this Pottier method. So see here V, 0 to V, and assuming, I am assuming lagging power factor with phi angle. So see here, lagging power factor with phi angle means I lags V by phi angle. So depending upon the I, we have to draw the IRA drop. So as I is like this, IRA will be like this starting from V. So this IRA drop will be added to V. Okay, after that perpendicularly IXL and IXA. So up to IXL you are getting E, induced EMF on full load, and after adding IXL to IXL, if I add IXA, it becomes IXS. So this gives IXS, up to IXS, it gives the no load induced EMF E naught. Okay, so after this, the OD will be representing, here OD will be representing voltage E. So the excitation corresponding to it is OF. OF is drawn 90 degrees ahead. Same phi, assuming 90 degrees, this too, 90 degrees, I am drawing OF. Nothing but Fg is equal to Na is equal to Be, right? So it represents the field current which is equal to the full load armature reaction, and it is drawn parallel to the current vector OI, like this. And the closing side here, OG, this gives the field excitation for E naught. For E naught, this is OZ. For OD, OF, for OL, OZ. And E naught is 90 degrees lagging behind OG. E naught is again 90 degrees lagging behind OG. So the phase difference between the OL, that means E naught and OZ is 90 degrees, and the phase difference between the OD and OF is also 90 degrees. So DL, this drop, it is armature reaction drop, leakage drop, resistance drop. Okay, there are some steps for Pottier method. We will go through the steps. See here. First step, we are given the V terminal voltage per phase. Now, after giving the V terminal voltage per phase, we will be given, or else if it is not given, we have to calculate the armature leakage reactance XL. And from that XL, I have to calculate IXL. Next, after adding IXL, so after adding IXL, I have to add IRA for that if it is given, and we have to draw a voltage E line. So for voltage V, the given in first step, V terminal voltage per phase is given. So for that V, I have to calculate the IXL from XL, and I have to add that IXL to voltage. So if IRA is also given, I have to add the drop also to voltage. After that IRA, I have to add IXL then. Okay, next, from NL curve, we have to find the field excitation for voltage E. So let I am taking IF1. It has IF1. Next, field current IF2 is also found from the Portier triangle. We have to draw the Portier triangle, and from that, for balancing the armature reaction, we have to balance with it with current. So IF2 we have to find after finding IF1. So combine, we have to combine IF1 and IF2 vectorically. So from that you will get IF, and from up to IF we have to see the corresponding voltage there. So this gives E0. From this we can find out the regulation. Okay. So see here, first V will be given. Okay, here V will be given. After that I have to find IXL. How to find IXL? B point, A point we have to locate and join. After that extend the B to H such that OA is equal to BH, and up to no load curve extend the point up to D, that you will get IXL. So after IXL, add this V to the IRA if given, add IRA to V, and after that add IXL. Okay, so after that adding IXL, we will find IF1. Okay, so corresponding to E, this is IF1. So OF is nothing but IF1. Okay, and if you add this BE, you will get FJ. So up to J, you will get IF2. OJ is IF2, OF is IF1, right? Up to OF is IF1, field current 1. And after adding the necessary balancing armature reaction field ampere turns, you will get up to J point. So OJ is F2 and OF is F1. Okay, so corresponding OF you are having E. Corresponding OF IF1 current you are getting E. So corresponding IF2 current, nothing but OJ. IF2 current you are getting E0. So once you find E and E0, E0 minus V by V into 100. If you write this formula, you will get the percentage regulation. So I will explain you, I will show you in the problems while discussing the problems. Okay, and next, operation of a silent pole synchronous machine. So see here, if you take a multipolar machine, that means more than 2 poles. If it is having 4 poles, 6 poles, 8 poles, it is called as multipolar machine. And if you take a cylindrical rotor like this is a cylindrical rotor. Okay, so it has a uniform air gap, right? If you take the multipolar machine, the gap between the 2 poles will be uniform always. Okay, so if the uniform gap is maintained only, then we will get a constant reactance value. right? So whether the rotor is in in upward position or downward position or in slant position, so irrespective of the rotor position, we are getting a reactance of same value if the uniform gap is maintained between the poles in a circular cylindrical rotor, right? So if you take a synchronous machine with silent pole or projecting poles, that means projecting poles means like this, the poles will be projecting from the rotor upwards. So if you take a projecting or silent pole machine rotor, it has non-uniform air gaps. So what happens, the reactance will not be uniform, it will be varying with the rotor position. This reactance will be different for different positions of the rotor. Okay, so a cylindrical rotor machine, so a cylindrical rotor machine, it is if it is taken and one axis of symmetry is taken, and the silent pole machine possesses two axes of geometric symmetry. So actually, if you take a rotor machine with one axis of symmetry, it is a cylindrical rotor machine. But actually, a cylindrical rotor machine is having only one axis of symmetry. But if you take a silent pole machine, it is having two axes of geometry symmetry. What is that means? First one, field pole axis called direct axis or D axis. Okay, and second one, axis which is passing through the center of interpolar space. Okay, so D axis is passing through the pole. This is called as direct axis or D axis, and other one is which is passing vertically through the center of the pole. This is called as quadrature axis or Q axis. Okay, so actually here if you see, two MMF will be acting on the D axis of the silent pole synchronous machine. One is field MMF and second one is armature MMF. So only one MMF, that is armature MMF, will be acting on Q axis. Armature MMF will be acting on Q axis because field MMF is not having a Q axis component. So the magnetic reluctance is very low along the poles and it is high between the poles. Along the poles, the reluctance is low. And between the poles, between one pole and other pole, the reluctance is very high. So these are the two basic facts. These are called as two reaction theories. These are proposed by Blondel. So the two reaction theories are, first one, the armature current IA is resolved into two components. That is ID perpendicular to E naught and IQ along the E naught. Okay, this one. If you see the figure B, the armature current IA is resolved into two components. Armature current, first one ID, which is perpendicular to E naught. This is E naught. This is ID perpendicular to E naught, direct axis current. And IQ, it is along E naught. IQ is along, that means same axis in phase with the E naught. And second one, the armature reactance has two components. Q axis armature reactance is XAD and it is associated with ID. And D axis armature reactance is XAQ. This one, XAQ, it is linked with IQ. So if you if you include the armature leakage reactance XL, it will be both same. So what is the formula means? XD is equal to XD is equal to XAD plus XL, and XQ is equal to XAQ plus XL. Okay, so we are assuming that reluctance on the Q axis is more. Okay, because it is having on the Q axis, it is having higher air gaps. On the Q axis, it is having higher air gaps. So that's why the reluctance on the Q axis is considered as high. So I can say that XAQ is less than XAD, or XQ is less than XD, or XD is greater than XQ. Okay, so this is the operation of the silent pole synchronous machine. Now in next classes we will discuss about the phasor diagrams for a silent pole synchronous machine. So by forming the equations, we have to draw the phasor diagram for a silent pole synchronous machine.